That's a good boy.
And we're back with the freshest episode of Bones and Tubs you've ever heard in your life.
You don't have to listen to me get shaky pissed anymore by myself in a room talking about child rapists. We're back together.
Yeah. So the balance has returned.
Yes.
I'm back from vacation now. I apologize for the sound of my voice. I got sick, and a childhood ailment decided to rear back up on me and kind of take hold of me a little bit.
Tickle your pickle.
Tickle my throat pickle.
Yeah, a little gangly.
Yeah. So, anyways, back from vacation, back from beautiful North Carolina.
Psychic recharge.
Man, I tell you what, and it really was. Even though I was sick for part of the trip, like people are like, man, I'm so sorry you're sick. And I'm like, listen, I would rather be sick here than sick doing work.
Oh, yeah.
Not podcast work.
Right.
I would do that work. I could be like dying of a giant tumor in my eyeball or in my throat or whatever. And I would just like do Morse code over the podcast because I actually like doing this. I don't like my real job.
Yeah. The Factory of Sadness. It's in the name.
Oh yeah.
It's in the name.
But my voice is still a little froggy. I'm getting over it and should be better. We talked about it on Raw, but just to give you guys a heads up, audio might sound a little different today. But that's just because we are recording in my dining room instead of our studio because, as we all know...
It's hotter than a fucking gangbang pussy outside.
And I don't have a climate control in my studio. It's something I'm thinking about working on, but just haven't done yet.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys hop over to our Patreon.
Yeah, this would be a good time to segue into some quick business.
Yeah. You know, that Patreon account that we got that people subscribe to us for and they get free shit from us and they get raw episodes and all sorts of other stuff. Hop on over there.
For a little as $1 a month, you can join the Bones and Tubs Nation. We'll give you a shout out.
Yeah.
I just amend it as I go, but I'm going to give a double shout out. Another one to Josh Whitman, who went from a $5 to a $7.
Look at him.
Look at him. It's big.
Get him.
I love you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Josh Whitman, you're a fucking beast. I also spoke with the one I told you about. We were having a conversation on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'd like to give Mr. Nighthawk a shout out.
Yeah.
Found out about him. He's a 18-year-old, so that goes against our traditional 25 to 34s.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Basically, he lives in Las Vegas.
Ooh.
So I was like, what's it like living out there? And he painted I don't know if he did it or if it's just my psychosis kicking in, but
yeah.
I pictured him like just leaving high school.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not too long ago, in his graduation, everybody had a butt plug in.
Oh, nice.
Except for him.
Oh, what does it say?
Maybe a few of his closest friends. And, you know, he's a open carry supporter of that.
Okay.
Looking forward to his concealed carry.
Oh, that's nice, too.
Yeah. I was telling him about my love of open carry to cause people to shit themselves.
Yeah.
To kind of wake them up to the idea of being a free human being, not relying on a group of road pirates to protect you.
Yeah.
Protect yourself, be a fucking man or a woman.
By the way, I've been putting that phrase out there to a lot of people.
Road pirates.
And some people who really didn't. I've caught a couple people already that were like, kind of gave me the stink eye because I called them road pirates.
Yeah.
But I love that term too much because that's exactly what they are. They're not. They're fleecing us for money.
That's it. That's all it is.
Yeah.
My wife was telling me yesterday on the way home, called me when she hit 70. And she was like, this fucking guy almost ran me off the road. He's fucking drunk or something.
Yeah.
He's like driving in the middle of two lanes, swerving, and he passed the cop. And she's like, cop didn't even fucking pull out. I was like, that's because the cop, if he was doing his job, he would have stopped him. But they're not. They don't do that.
Yeah.
He probably hadn't been trained too well on DUI stops to know that that's a good bust, but he's looking for more speed. All he wants to do is fleece a sheep.
You know what Lady Bones needs to do? She needs to turn that into a meme. Have like a picture of like some reckless driver driving in the middle of two lanes.
Yeah.
And you just have like a cop sitting in his car looking all normal and like whatever, he doesn't care. And then have somebody with a bad blinker. And then the next meme is the cop and his eyes are glowing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Money signs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking piece of shit. I got into it. This happened while you were on vacation, and I went off in a rant at somebody at the Factory of Sadness. We were having a conversation. I don't want to name them.
Okay, that's fine.
But we were talking about they were like, we were speaking about anarchy, right? And they were like, well, I just don't, I'm not a fan of it because a lot of those guys hate cops. And I was like, I heard this argument before about the good cop, bad cop, and how there's no such thing as a good cop. And that kind of hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
You know, because I always like the idea, kind of like we talked about knights.
Yeah.
You know, being upholding justice.
It's a romantic notion.
It's a romantic notion that there's good, there are good cops, but there are no good cops. I don't think so.
Because unfortunately they've sworn to uphold
all laws.
And unfortunately, not all laws are just laws.
Right.
You know, I hate to go back to the old adage, but, you know, slavery was legal.
Yeah.
The Holocaust was legal.
Taxation's theft.
Yeah.
They enforce it.
You know, Jim Crow laws were legal.
Yeah. The guy that we're going to talk about today, I mean, he got murdered for not paying his taxes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that just shows you.
Exactly.
If we start seeing cops that come out against these things and make... public statements about these laws being bullshit, I will change my tune. But until then, they are complicit. Yeah. Well, silence is compliance.
That and until they, stop killing innocent people. Just saying.
That too, it's just murder, though.
I mean,
right?
Yeah.
Don't you fly the flag out front with the blue strip in the middle?
No.
Oh, me either.
Okay. No.
Yeah. No.
No. I don't. I'm sorry.
It's time to wake up, fuckers.
Yeah. Get up or get out.
Check out some Mark Passio. If you're a police officer and you're listening.
Yeah.
I love you as a human being, but fuck your profession.
I don't hate any human for being a human.
No, but do some inner work.
I hate them for subjugating other humans.
Yeah. I hate myself.
Yeah, a little bit. I think everybody has to have a little self-loathing.
Yeah. Keeps you honest.
It does. But a little self-deprecation never hurt anybody.
Can I mention this news story real quick and then we'll get on?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, Donald Trump, right? This motherfucker, I was going through some of his tweets of old, right? Publicly, he talks about how awesome it is, like whenever there's a tax cut.
Yeah.
Because tax cuts equal greatness.
Yeah.
Right? Which I agree with. Taxes are theft.
Yeah.
Get rid of the theft.
Yeah.
But then he is all about this fucking passing the internet tax where they just passed a law that states can force retailers to impose states' sales tax. And he's like, that's awesome. It's great for the American people and the consumer. No, motherfucker, it's not.
No.
His argument is that because, quote-unquote, mom-and-pop shops that don't exist anymore due to Walmart and big retailers, they're having to compete with tax-free sales online. So instead of getting rid of the, sales tax in general, getting rid of the armed robbery,
yeah,
they're just going to make everybody get armed robbed.
Yeah.
What kind of fucking sense does that make?
Dude, listen, man, that dude don't make no sense.
No.
I'm sorry. It's like, I enjoy
Trolldom
and the freak show. That just, like, the constant cavalcade of, like, chaos that just comes out of that executive branch of government now. Because, it kind of plays into my philosophy on life at this point.
Chaos.
Like, chaos.
Yeah.
Like, that's what government, like, it plays in great. And it's kind of, it's leached over and infected the legislative branch of government as well.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of like, I like that freak show, but the thing is like, that's not my dream.
Right.
That's not my dream at all.
Well, chaos in the beginning will lead to breaking down the foundations of this fucking monster we've made. And once it's all destroyed, we can take over. Natural law.
Yeah.
Individual freedom.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with anybody else. But until then, there's going to be chaos.
Yeah.
His new nickname that I've seen floating around the internet is Orange Bama.
I just heard that. You told me that today, and I was like, I like it.
Orange skin, obviously.
Yeah.
And he's just like all the others. Just the same way Obama was like Bush. Bush was like Clinton. Clinton was like Bush.
Speaking of which, just a quick segue. I decided that I no longer want to be known as Tubbs after this vacation.
Okay.
I want to be known as the Snake. Because I got really, really burned, everybody. I am a man of Caucasian descent.
Yeah.
So
Caucasoid region.
Yeah, from the Caucasus region.
Yeah.
And I have really bad problem. I didn't realize it, but the parts of my body that aren't exposed to sun often were exposed to sun, and now I am shedding like a snake.
Your genitals and your butthole?
Constantly.
Yeah.
Everything. So now I want to go by, it's going to be the Bones and the Snake show.
We won't have to change the...
Yeah, we have to change the emblem. Yeah.
We just have to airbrush Tubbs out of it.
Yeah, there you go. No, I'm just kidding, everybody. It's still going to be Bones and Tubbs. It would never not be Bones and Tubbs. You know what I mean?
It has to be.
Yeah. That's just the way it is. The brand is on now.
Mm-hmm.
We watch the analytics. I don't want to get into I don't like bragging.
I love where it's going.
Yeah.
A lot of downloads.
Exactly.
A lot of engagement.
A lot of the thing is, it's one of those things where like you see, like you read these things about how you're putting something into the universe and you're willing something, and it starts on the mental plane and manifests itself in reality, and we're seeing that.
Yes.
With you guys, and
all is mental.
Before we segue into what we're talking about today, I really wanted to thank you. I don't know if I could thank you guys enough. I really don't think I can.
Yeah, I can't either.
Like, the appreciation is great. I mean, from our very first fans who are still listening, thank you for being with us this whole time and putting the word out there. For all of you who this might be your first episode, thank you for listening.
Give us a try. Try us on.
I mean, the thing is, at the end of the day, we've never been the types to try to appease everybody. From the very beginning, we kind of put that out there that we weren't appeasing everybody. If you don't like us, that's okay.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna appease everybody.
No,
because the thing is, like, I'm not a moral relativist.
Right.
So, like, understand that if something I think is wrong, it's wrong.
It's all black and white.
Yeah. You can't live in your own reality bubble. You gotta break that and become a part of the unreal reality, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, none of this is real.
No, but there is a reality.
Right, but none of this.
Yeah.
Looking around, psychically, whatever.
But yeah, so thank you guys. I feel like I don't say it enough, but I do really appreciate it, and I like the love, and let's get back to what we do best. Talking about that shitty deep state bullshit.
Yeah.
And, fuck communists.
Right.
And fuck Nazis.
Fuck authoritarians.
Yeah. Any kind of authoritarian.
Fuck it all.
Fuck it all. Go fuck yourself.
# freedom.
Fuck off. Fuck off. Yeah.
Eat a big old box of dicks.
Okay, so today's episode, now that we got chit-chatty for a minute there. Yeah. And that's okay. I think that's part of the show. Yeah, it's been a while. Today's episode, we are going to be it's part talking about a dude and part talking about an excerpt from a book that he wrote.
Yeah.
Not the whole book, just a very specific part of it. Today, we're talking about Mr. William Cooper. God rest his soul.
Rest in peace.
He was, what I believe, as I've read so far in his book, legit.
Too legit to quit.
Yeah.
They tried to kill him twice.
Well,
3 times.
3 times.
The third time succeeded.
Third time's a charm, I guess. Do we want to do a little kind of backstory into William Cooper before we get into?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you take over first for Mr. William Cooper.
Well, we're gonna have to do this together because I didn't brush up on that entirely. But he, as far as I know, Air Force first, like you said, right?
Air Force first.
Then
like his father.
He transferred to the Navy. And then eventually, I believe it started with top secret clearance.
Yeah.
And then he became naval intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in the submarine branch of the Navy intelligence operation.
Yeah.
And his book, Behold a Pale Horse, which everybody should check out.
Yes.
He talks about some of the crazy shit that he saw while in Navy. UFOs, stuff like that.
UFOs.
But...
Foo Fighters, as some call. He called them Foo Fighters a couple times. So I thought that was cool.
I think it's important, especially with what we're going through right now. Because if anybody's heard us talk before about Secure Team 10 or any of the stuff that's legit about UFOs, you can see for yourself on any of these NASA cameras or the night sky or the ocean.
Yeah,
there's definitely something to it. But we give the background about his time in intelligence because he comes out with this top secret document titled Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, an introductory programming manual, operations research, technical manual, TMSW 7905.
Yeah.
.1.
Which, if you remember from our CIA Part 1 and Part 2, we got into a little bit in one of those technical documents in that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, now he didn't find this document, but he did publish it.
Right.
So William Cooper, give you a little, after his sojourn into the military, he found some things out that he didn't like while he was in naval intelligence. One of the things he pegged that started the whole chain of events for him was finding out about the Kennedy assassination. and how he had learned in naval intelligence that Kennedy was supposedly shot by the driver with some sort of, I've heard different stories, but the one I heard the most was some sort of alien tech, some sort of subsonic device.
Well, so it wasn't a magic bullet?
No.
From a lone gunman? Okay.
No.
All right.
So, and that kind of started the ball rolling. That, and he had actually witnessed UFOs during his time in the military, and he firsthand was strong-armed by intelligence officers about what he'd seen.
Yeah.
And bullied into silence. So after he got out of the military, he was going to leak to a newspaper everything he knew. And he went and talked to a journalist, and they were supposed to do an interview like the next day. And he was driving home from that first encounter with the journalist, and a car ran him off the road. And he was lying in a ditch, all bloody and beaten up. And he remembers two individuals stepping over his body, and one of them checking his pulse, and the other one asking, "Is he alive?" And he said, "Yes, but he won't be soon." And then they left. And he crawled back to the road, and somebody found him, and he lived.
Because he had some of that boss sauce inside him. Kept himself alive.
Less than a year later, he was ran off the road again. This time he lost his leg.
Yeah.
And two individuals came and saw him in the hospital, and they basically said, if you don't play ball, if you don't shut up and be a good boy, the next time you're not going to live.
Yeah.
And he said, "Okay, I'll be a good boy."
That's a good boy.
But for the benefit of all of us, he wasn't a good boy.
No.
He spent the next few years saving his money and writing his work. And eventually he used his own money and the money that people had donated to him to send thousands of copies of his work all over the world.
To the four winds.
So that it didn't matter if they killed him or not.
Yeah, kill me, fuckers.
His information got out there.
It's all out now.
So it kind of made him lightweight, untouchable. Now, that's not to say that there weren't CIA plants, which he pointed out. He knew a lot of people in the intelligence community, and they tried to discredit him time and time again. And he would point out, "I used to work with that dude.
Yeah,
I used to work with that dude.
Right.
That dude's he's a spook."
One of the best things that he's done so far is to point out Alex Jones.
Yeah. Which I've kind of said before that I thought Alex Jones was a plant.
Yeah.
But yeah, so William Cooper was a boss, and he foretold 9/11.
Yeah.
And
we talked about that before. Was that in June of that year?
Yeah.
So he predicted it in 9/11 he predicted 9/11 in June, and then that was when they decided to revoke his good boy card.
Yeah.
And then November of that year, he was shot and killed by a police officer that was trying to apprehend him allegedly for not paying taxes.
Yeah.
So there we have it.
So if anybody tells you that the idea that they'd kill you because you don't pay that they wouldn't kill you because you don't pay your taxes, that's a farce.
Right. Taxation is theft.
Yeah.
Basically, pay your taxes or we're going to kidnap you. And if you don't want to be kidnapped, we'll fucking kill you.
Yeah. More or less. I mean, that's not more or less. That is just what it is.
But if everybody turned their taxes off at the same time, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Can they get us all?
What are they going to do?
Could they?
What are they going to do?
I don't think so.
We know what they're going to try to do.
Right.
So now that we got the bare bones of Mr. William Cooper's life out of the way, I'd like to talk about him more, but I think we just need to get into what we wanted to talk about today, which was a document that was found. Like, there's several stories about how it was found, but the one I like the most is in 1969, a Xerox machine was bought by somebody.
Yeah.
And in the machine was a copy of this document. And I'm flipping pages, and this sounds horrible.
You mean to go ahead and do the author's note?
Yes.
Above, let's see, William Cooper, author's note. I read top secret documents which explained that the silent weapons for quiet wars is a doctrine adopted by the policy committee of the Bilderberg Group during its first known meeting in 1954. A copy found in 1969 was in possession of naval intelligence. The following document dated May 1979 was found on July 7th, 1986 in an IBM copier that had been purchased at a surplus sale.
I'm sorry, I said that wrong.
What?
I said it was found in 1969.
Oh.
But no, it was found in 1979.
Well, there's different stories.
Oh, 1986. That's it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I fucked that up.
No problem. I forgive you.
Okay.
So do they.
Yeah.
Can you feel it? The forgiveness?
I do feel it.
It's good. Yeah. This publication marks the 25th anniversary of the Third World War, called the Quiet War, being conducted using subjective biological warfare fought with silent weapons. This book contains an introductory description of this war, its strategies, and its weaponry. May 1979.
Okay. So, Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. Technical manual. Written by ?
Yeah. Secret cabal?
Yeah.
Plans for enslaving a society?
Yeah, and the crazy part is taking the context, reading this now, when this was supposedly written years and years and years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when you're, imagine reading it when it first came out and thinking, this is like, they're still in phase 1 back then.
Yeah.
Now they're like in phase whatever.
When he first came out with this, I'm sure, I've read some things where they're like, it's not possible, this is fake. And now it reads like a fucking day-to-day operations manual.
That's just what's happening.
Sense. Most of it's already been done.
Like, to put it this way, the big aim of this whole thing, it's a multi-tiered attack on American society, more or less. I'm going to let you take over for a minute.
Security is the first one that he has in here. It is patently impossible to discuss social engineering or the automation of a society, i.e. the engineering of social automation systems, silent weapons, on a national or worldwide scale without implying extensive objectives of social control, and the destruction of human life, i.e. slavery and genocide. This manual is in itself an analog declaration of intent. Such a writing must be secured from public scrutiny. Otherwise, it might be recognized as a technical, formal declaration of domestic war. Furthermore, whenever any person or group of persons in a position of great power and without full knowledge and consent of the public uses such knowledge and methodology for economic conquest, it must be understood that a state of domestic warfare exists between said person or group of persons and the public. The solution of today's problems requires an approach which ruthlessly candid, with no agonizing over religious, moral, or cultural values. You have qualified for this project because of your ability to look at human society with a cold objectivity, and yet analyze and discuss your observations and conclusions with others of similar intellectual capacity without a loss of discretion or humility. Such virtues are exercised in your own best interest. Do not deviate from them.
So basically that was the introduction to somebody, say, receiving this manual,
right?
Being tapped and becoming part of their cabal. And basically, to me, it's the introduction to, hey, you're a gigantic tool.
Yeah, you're a fucking piece of shit. Don't let anybody that's not a piece of shit read this.
Come be a fucking tool with us.
Yes, join our toolbox.
Yeah, join the giant toolbox. More or less, it lays out the beginnings of their plan that first started as it was like this came about because of research done before it, and they realized that if you took all this like research that people had done and you applied it and you applied the scientific method to it, you can take the notions of one science and apply it to another, i.e. they use the example of electrical science and the words and things used in electrical science and apply it to economics. Which is, I think, if you look at the big thing of silent weapons for quiet wars, economics is their main weapon of choice.
It's definitely one of the strongest arms of their fucking octopus.
Yeah.
I'm going to finish this author's note that he left at the end of that section, and then I'll let you take it over there.
Okay.
He writes at the end of that section, I do recognize this document based upon the document's own admission as a formal declaration of war by the Illuminati upon the citizens of the United States of America. I acknowledge that a state of war exists and has existed between the citizens of the United States and the Illuminati aggressor based upon this recognition. I present to you that the peaceful citizens of this United States are fully justified in taking whatever steps may be necessary, including violence, to identify, counterattack, and destroy the enemy. I base this statement upon the God-given right of any peaceful people to defend themselves against attack and destruction by any enemy waging war against them. I cite the principles outlined in the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution of the United States, and fully recognize and acknowledge historical precedents that have served as the justification for destruction of tyrants.
Okay. So, yeah. I tell you, Cooper.
Yeah, man.
He's a beast.
No wonder he's in the ground now.
So this research the research for this started long before it was applied, right? And more or less, I mean, when you look through the list of names that helped source this material, the picture begins to play out a lot more, i.e., it was originally funded by the Rockefeller Foundation to the Harvard Economic Research Project at Harvard College. Basically, so we're talking
like money in this motherfucker.
Now, the thing is, like, he uses the term Illuminati a lot in this book.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just kind of a catch-all for whatever the cabal really is.
Right.
What name it has, the beast, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess in this context, you could call it the pale horse.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. Like, it's a nomenclature thing. I don't like his use of the word Illuminati because I don't believe the Illuminati actually ever did anything bad, or the original Illuminati.
Yeah.
I don't think they exist anymore, but not in that context, though.
I think it's been co-opted.
Well, probably co-opted, like the Masons and stuff like that. But the thing is, I think the original intention of the Illuminati wasn't to be like that.
No, well, it's like Pascal said, anybody can call themselves Illuminati.
Yeah.
If you're illuminated.
It just means enlightened and illuminated.
The Bones and Tubbs Nation could be the Illuminati if they wanted to be.
I consider myself amongst the Illuminati.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but anyways, like I said, that's just a nomenclature thing. That's me trying to not press my own ideologies onto it.
Right.
But, so basically, how it breaks down is they began to implement the research they found and realized that they could, economically speaking, they could control us much easier by using economics. And one of the first things I saw for this was they would use shock tactics on the economy. Mm-hmm. So they would make a resource scarce, and they applied the same logic that they used for when they were building airplanes and putting guns on them.
Yeah.
Because what they would do is they'd put these guns on these planes and they'd fire them until basically the guns rattled off the ship or broke something. Mm-hmm. Because they wanted to see how much fire this plane could withstand before it would just like disintegrate something, right?
Yeah.
So that's the same logic they applied to how they would control the economy. They wanted to see how the public reacted to it.
Yeah.
So they would make a resource scarce. It could be anything. It could be a good. It could be a service. Because they used control of the unions to do the same thing with like services and stuff like that.
Production and all that.
Yeah, and see how the public reacted to it, so that later on in the future they could apply certain pressure and certain points in order to get a certain reaction from us. Mm-hmm. More or less. They applied the general energy concepts to this system. Like I said, they took one science and they applied the nomenclature of that science to this science.
Yeah.
So from electrical energy science to economics.
Yeah.
So you have things like inductor, conductance, capacitance, and resistors, all being played out, used in different ways. So like, for example, you had economic capacitance. That's capital, money, stock, inventory, investments in building, and durables, right? Economic conductance. Those are goods, services, and the flow, right? Sorry, I kind of jumped ahead.
I was just trying to keep up.
And then economic inductance. Those are the services, and it has to do with the influence of the population of industry on output. Like they said, through the Harvard research, they began to set up their plan for control.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, this whole section just blew my mind.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know how else to say it. I'm sitting there reading it, and it, like, simultaneously made me pissed off. And
well, you think right now, just based on probably one of the most used energy forms, right? Gasoline or petrol, right?
Yeah.
So we're paying whatever price. It jumps back and forth, but it's ridiculous that we pay that much anyway, because the argument of fossil fuels is a fucking lie.
Yeah.
I mean, the Russians, back when, what was it? Not Exxon Valdez, but the one that most recently happened. The leak in was it the Atlantic?
The Gulf.
The Gulf?
Yeah.
What they were trying to do was what the Russians have been doing for the last 2 decades or so, which is deep mining. Because the oil at that deep level is so high pressure, if you don't have the right amount of equipment, the right, pressure, to pull it out of the ground. Think of like regular oil rigs, right, as taking oil out of a vein.
Yeah.
But the stuff that they were trying to do was to take it out of an artery.
Yeah.
But it's constantly replenishing itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's a constantly renewing resource. It's not fossil fuels, which came up from the Rockefellers. They paid a scientist to come out with that whole theory of fossil fuels. Fucking bullshit. So we're paying a ridiculous amount of money when if we just wanted to operate with that old technology that we won't get past for the price of actually mining it and transporting it, it would be fucking super cheap.
What boggles my mind is like what really plays in this is the notion of creating the existence of scarcity. Mm-hmm. The fact that technically scarcity actually doesn't exist.
Right. Even like diamonds. Think about that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah, we all know, like, I don't want to get on a segue here, but diamonds are the least rarest gem on the fucking planet.
But because it's all owned by one or two companies, they own one company?
De Beers.
They can control all of it. Yeah. Artificial scarcity.
The
same model.
They have a huge fucking vault full of diamonds, but they only release X amount every year. Right. So that it keeps that scarcity going. In all reality, emeralds and sapphires are way rarer, and rubies are way rarer than diamonds. Mm-hmm. Because diamonds are just pure carbon. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to get in that.
Well, I'm just giving a modern day example of scarcity.
Scarcity doesn't exist.
Right. It's not.
There's more than enough resources for every human being on this planet to live comfortably. Yeah. But the thing is, and it doesn't matter what economic system you come from, scarcity has been created by them. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if you live in socialist Venezuela. Doesn't matter if you live in the great United States of America. Doesn't matter if you live in Canada. Doesn't matter if you
States of America.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if you live in Canada. It doesn't matter if you live in the UK. It doesn't matter if you live in Russia. There's no such thing as scarcity. Don't believe it. Right. Don't believe the hype. It doesn't exist.
Even a historical reference to the oasis, right? Fresh water. Yeah. I mean, it's
everybody
everywhere.
Like it boggles my mind. Like I hate saying it. Like think about it like this. Like remember a few years ago when like you think about how much money's been put into like giving fresh water to like Africans and stuff, and the fact like how much money has been just pumped into that continent, and the fact that like there's still people that don't have access to fresh water. Right. And then you look at a rapper like Akon, who's just one human being who like fucking housed and gave like over like
fresh water to
like fucking
shitload of
500,000 people or some crazy number like that.
Himself, yeah.
Okay, that's one dude. Because you know what he did? He actually did what he said he was going to do.
He gave a shit about his own.
Yeah.
Fuck the government.
I'm sorry. It's just so like, and it kind of like so. Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. It lays out future plans for what ultimate plan is what they were going to do. And mind you, this came out in the 80s.
Right. What we're under now.
Yeah. So like the notions of UPCs.
Yeah.
Nothing exists without a UPC now.
Right.
Everything has a UPC.
Zebra stripe pricing codes on packages.
Yeah. Back then, it was a little less, obvious. And then they talk about the first beginnings of credit card transactions being able to be recorded so they could begin to like do market analysis and stuff like that. Right. Back then, they had to rely on huge, like, they had to look at basically the whole big picture of how people were buying things. Right. Yeah. Like, and their data wasn't as accurate as it is now because think about it. Like, back then, they did have some UPCs. They had some credit cards. So they could do a little bit of individualistic market analysis. But now the way things are with the amount of computer science that's been put into it, each and every one of you in this country there's a data packet on you.
Oh, for sure.
They know everything about you because of what you buy.
Now individual companies are paying to get into that data mine.
Yeah.
Just as for marketing or whatever it might be, but it's already there.
Your market research is valuable.
Yeah.
And the thing is you're giving it away for free.
Yeah, you're a product. You're being sold without you being any profiteering from it. Mm-hmm. Cray.
You are a product and you are a good just as much as the products and goods that you buy.
Right. Madness.
And we've gone that far. When this thing was written, that was the future. Now we're living in that.
Yep.
Like they talk about one of the last things was a permanent tattoo for transactions.
Right. Not visible under ambient normal light.
Which we haven't gotten that far yet.
Not
but
yet.
How far away are we?
Well, how many people for various companies, to even say that might not have to be the end game, right? The tattoo.
Yeah.
But like there are companies that are requiring their employees to get chipped.
Yeah.
Right. The small rice grain size chipped in order to activate various levels of security and what have you.
Yeah.
Even some nightclubs. I read about this in that book by Mark Dice. The New World Order, where he was talking about like they're making it a trendy thing in some West Coast clubs. In order to access VIP, you have to be chipped. People are just lining up to get their chip
because it's cool.
I want to be trendy
because it's cool.
Suck on a big old blinging dick.
Yeah, man. So when this book came out, they were just starting the beginnings of it, but now we're so deep in it. I don't even know how you'd begin the process of reversing it.
The most powerful word
No.
No.
Yeah, you're right. Other aspects of it that I found interesting was they talk about how I saw one part about how they wanted to begin the process of dismantling the family unit.
Oh, yeah.
And
where are you at now?
I was flipping through 48, but
trying to find that one. There's a list I wanted to read.
Was it? I think I know what you're talking about. Was it this one, the short list of inputs, or no?
I wanted to. Mine's on 56, so I'll wait to do that. Table of strategies.
Oh, okay.
Because that one fucked me up special. Fucked me in a special type of way.
We could go to that because that's kind of where I was going anyway. Oh yeah. Let's do that because that's what I was getting towards. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, just before we leave what you were just going through, I mean, they have the habit patterns, right?
Yeah.
Because that's important to go through too. Like we're talking about us as a product. The personal paper trail. Obviously, everybody knows that their checking account, credit cards, and all that shit are tagged and processed and followed.
Watched.
Another one, obviously, that a lot of people sign up for in fucking droves: welfare system, Social Security, USDA food surplus, doles, grants, and subsidies. Those are all means of control and tracking. And government sources, IRS, obviously, OSHA.
Yeah.
The census, which is another great fucking tracking tool.
Yeah.
Activities. Now, this is where it starts to break down more along the lines of instead of just your purchases, right? This is going after your activities, your sports, your hobbies, things that you habitually will spend money on. Mm-hmm. Hospitable needs, drug sensitivities. So they're also, at this point, talking about your medical history.
Yeah.
Things that they know for a fact that you know, allergies, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Reaction to pain, which I found interesting. So this is starting to build a psychological database for whatever reason. Like, we'll just look up Mr. Bones here. Let's see what his pain tolerance is, and we'll find out the best way to torture his fucking ass. Mm-hmm. Psychiatric records, fears, angers, disgust, adaptability, reactions to stimuli, violence, suggestibility, or hypnosis, pain, pleasure, love, joy, and sex. Now, this ties in modern day with Facebook, right?
Yeah.
How many of those fucking silly ass things, like we were just talking about, kind of a different one, but like the survey you were talking about for philosophy. Mm-hmm. All these things are in that database.
Yeah.
They know your personal philosophies, your everything.
They know I'm a Platonist.
Right. But I mean, I filled out so many of those fucking things.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Just because it was you killing time. And that's what they want. Like, that's what I think a lot of this was geared towards is, like, all the stuff that they do, like, the reason they get away with it and the reason we don't do anything about it is because they give us so much, like, there's so much of a over-exaggeration of like, oversaturation of input and recreational activity that there's no real way to, like, you don't, like, here's the thing. I'm glad you guys are listening to this. And the thing is, like, because these are the things that need to actually be talked about.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, you know, we could be a podcast that talks about movies and shit like that. And don't get me wrong, I love movies. I love video games. When I'm done with this, I'm probably going to play some Fallout 4.
Talk to me.
Because I want to go kill some super mutants.
Yeah, I mean, it's all right. I get it.
But at the same time, later on, I'm probably going to read some more of this book.
Yeah.
Because I haven't finished it yet.
Right.
And I'm probably going to read some more Hermetica.
Yeah. It's all about what you choose to enjoy.
Yeah.
What you care about.
So...
Let me fucking speed through this, and then we'll get to that other list real quick.
Okay.
They also have models based on your methods of coping or adaptability behavior. So consumption of alcohol, drugs, entertainment, religious factors influencing your behavior, other methods of escaping from reality, which we just got done talking about.
Yeah.
And this is another one. They will also have a separate folder that builds on your psychological profile for your payment history. Right? So your payment of telephone bills, energy purchases, water purchases, repayment of loans, house payments, automobile payments, payments on credit cards. Your political sensitivities, which are a huge psyop right now.
Yeah, man. Like, if anybody here doesn't realize that they've been playing into that hard.
People complain about it all the time. Like, I don't like Facebook because all it is left arguing with the right or vice versa. But it's all, every time you like something or you comment on something, that's all going in the folder.
Yeah.
Your beliefs, your contacts, your position, strengths and weaknesses, projects and activities. Court records, obviously, police records, NCIC, or the National Fingerprint Database. Driving record, reports made to police, insurance information, anti-establishment acquaintances. So I'm fucked. Investments, banking, credit, miscellaneous, polls and surveys, publications that you read or frequent, telephone records, energy and utility purchases. So with that, you can go back, I'm sure, in a couple of shows we've talked about. Google, that news story we read probably the beginning of the year, late last year, where Google can predict your activities, where you're going to go, what time you're going to go there, with an 85% level of accuracy. Don't
get it hyped. The science has finally reached their dreams.
Yeah, Google, I forget the search term, but you can look up like your history with your Google account. There's a way to look at, and it puts a dot on the map every time you stop somewhere. And I mean, it goes day by day history.
Yeah.
All these things are, fuck.
Yeah. They have the technology now to do what they wanted to do from the beginning.
Yeah.
This goes back all the way to 1949. They had these intentions. The thing is, the technology hadn't caught up yet.
Yeah.
Now it's caught up. Now they have nothing stopping them.
Outputs was cool too. Not cool, but tickle my psychic pickle. Outputs create controlled situations. The manipulation of the economy and society. Control by control for compensation and outcome. The sequence goes: allocates opportunities, destroys opportunities, controls the economic environment, controls the availability of raw materials, controls capital, controls bank rates, controls the inflation of a currency, controls the possession of property, controls industrial capacity, controls manufacturing, controls the availability of goods. Commodities.
Controls the prices of commodities.
Yeah. Payments to government officials, controls the legal functions, controls personal data files, uncorrectable by the party slandered. So anything that they have on you, you cannot correct.
Nope. Controls advertising, controls media content, controls material available for TV viewing. Disengages attention from real issues.
Engages emotions, creates disorder.
Just to stop into that real quick.
Yeah.
They talk about this too, and I think both sides of any political argument, if you're talking about the left and the right, they have thoroughly played into both sides' emotions.
Oh, for sure.
Instead of their rationality.
Yeah.
That's one thing I harp on constantly. And I guess that plays into my supposed Platonist nature, even though I thought I was a Stoic. I still think I'm a Stoic. Anyways,
yeah.
Not to segue. The thing is both sides aren't thinking rationally. They think emotionally.
Right.
And that's where I have a problem.
Yeah.
Because people need to be rational.
Yeah.
Logical.
Right.
About these things. When you're talking about humankind on a mass scale.
Women. I'm sorry.
But, yeah, sorry. I just wanted to stop right there real quick because I thought that was that hit me hard.
That's good. Not good, but anyway. Engages emotions, creates disorder, chaos, and insanity, controls design for more probing tax forms, controls surveillance, controls the storage of information, develops psychological analyses for profiles of individuals, controls legal functions, repeat of 50, controls sociological factors, controls health options, preys on weaknesses, cripples the strengths, and leaches wealth from and substance.
I would go on and say that they've at least gotten to 20. They're somewhere between, I feel like, somewhere between 27 and 29.
Yeah.
Maybe up to 30.
They're fucking chipping away trying to control the health options.
Yeah.
That's what's so fucked up with the everybody getting away from Obamacare. Everybody wants it gone. And then, like, Trump, who's the right's savior, right, is just talking about replacing it with something else. Like, no, motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah.
More control is not what we need, bitch.
Yeah.
So this is the part here that got me going really well.
The table of strategies is out of control.
It's separated by a do this to get this.
Yeah.
Right. So I'll just go down and read those. If that is
just, would you say like do this and then do the to get this on each side? Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So just so we know where we're at.
Yeah.
Do this. Keep the public ignorant in order to get this. Less public organization. Obviously, if the public doesn't know about whatever the individual thing might be, they can't organize against it.
Yeah.
Do this. Maintain access to control points for feedback. To get this. Required reaction to outputs, i.e. prices and sales. Create preoccupation in order to lower defenses. So if you're preoccupied constantly, you can't, your shield is down. Do this. Attack the family unit, which I'm sure we'll get heavy into.
Yeah.
How they've done that. In order to get this. Control the education
of the young.
And obviously, if you control the young, you control the future.
Yep.
Do this. Give less cash and more credit in doles. To get this. More self-indulgence and more data.
There you go.
So, I mean, I'm sure everybody that has a decent credit rating is constantly getting berated with more offers for credit cards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
More credit, more data on purchases. That's why they're trying to make it a cashless society. Do this. Attack the privacy of the church. In order to get this. Destroy faith in this sort of government. And that's taking it from the old school form of control, right?
Yeah.
So religion was the old school
form of control. Old control.
In order to get more dependence on the government. Do this. Social conformity. In order to get this. Computer programming simplicity. So if you get everybody to conform into various subcategories, which we all put each other in, right? Yeah. Gay, straight, black, white, Christian, Muslim, whatever.
Man, woman.
Any of these special boxes that you allow yourself to go into, it makes it easier for them to program you like a computer. Here we go. Minimize the tax protest. To get this. Maximum economic data. Minimum enforcement problems.
There you go.
Do this. Stabilize the consent. To get this. Simplicity coefficients. Do this. Tighten control of variables. To get this. Simpler computer input data. Greater predictability. Do this. Establish boundary conditions. To get this. Problem simplicity. Solutions of differential and difference equations. Do this. Proper timing. To get this. Less data shift and blurring. Do this. Maximize control to get minimum resistance to control. And then, finally, collapse the currency to destroy faith of the American people in each other.
There you go.
Divide und conquer.
So, I think the next part's diversion and strategies for diversion. Another silent weapon.
Yes. I'm going to let you take over while I go make that yarn pee-pee.
That's fine. One of the simplest things they do is talking about diversion, keeping us distracted from what's really going on, with their goal in mind to keep the public undisciplined and ignorant of basic systems principles, using tactics to keep them confused, disorganized, and distracted. I would say for example, with the media, you keep the adult public attention diverted away from the real social issues and captivated by matters of no real importance. We see that every day in our lives. Every day, you are constantly getting bombarded with things that don't really matter. You know, I could think of a lot of things off the top of my head, but anything involved with false outrage, fake outrage, anytime people get mad because somebody said this or that doesn't really matter, everybody. I hope you realize that. You've been listening to the show long enough to know that. I would hope you'd realize that a lot of the false outrage is planned. But next, they use the schools. Keep the young public ignorant of real mathematics, real economics, real law, and real history. Entertainment. Keep the public entertainment below a 6th grade level. This is what they really think of you. They think that us out there can't do the real work and think beyond a 6th grade level. Keep the public busy, with no time to think. Back on the farm with the other animals. And that's another emphasis they get into, is the notion that they're treating us like livestock.
I wanted to take that real quick. I just caught that like a fish hook.
Yeah.
The busy part, right? So how many times have you ever said, like, I'm so busy, right?
Oh, all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we all do. That's what everything is designed, no matter where you work, Factory of Sadness or some punk-ass office or factory, whatever it might be. Even in your personal life, right?
Yeah.
Busy does not mean productive. If you're not being productive, what are you doing? But I mean, you're busy all the time with everything. And I mean, here's where it comes from.
Yeah.
What year was this written, you said?
They started the data, started creating it in 1949, wasn't discovered till 1986.
Right. I mean, just another, sorry. I like the time machine back and forth.
Oh, no, that's cool. So to get all this, they need consent, right?
Yes.
But it's like a unknowing consent, because we don't know. We're kept ignorant, right?
Yeah.
I like this. One of these lines hit me pretty hard. Silent weapon systems operates upon data obtained from a docile public by legal but not always lawful force.
Yeah, that's a good line.
You know, they talk about basically the Internal Revenue Service being one of those big ones. So basically, the next part I saw that really just like hit me in my gonads.
Yeah.
was the artificial womb.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. Man.
The notion is that they believe that, so the second you leave your actual mother's womb, they've built an effort to create an artificial womb.
Yeah.
A way to keep you closed off. And I think like this ties into what I've said before is what Mark Passio says, the greatest disease of mankind right now is solipsism, because this is the artificial womb.
Yeah.
Solipsism is the artificial womb, believing that your truth, your supposed own truth, not the actual truth, not the actual reality,
right,
is the only reality.
Right.
And is what created this great sickness in this country.
Mm-hmm.
The artificial womb is what they're talking about.
Yeah.
You have and this goes into all the social media stuff when you're in your quote unquote echo chamber.
Yeah.
And just like repeating the same things and you're just hearing the same things back. You have created that womb around yourself, that bubble. They call it a bubble in some circles. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
You've created a protective barrier between yourself and anything that might go against what you believe, what you personally believe.
I.e. the real.
Yeah. So the next part talks about the notion that like the what they want us to believe is that we need the government.
This is the political structure of a nation?
Yeah.
Dependency. That goes into Passio, too, we talked about before, with you can basically separate a conservative or a liberal based on mommy or daddy issues.
Yeah.
Whichever form of dependency is strongest.
But then again, it's still all dependency. That's the problem. It doesn't matter what side you're on. It's still just dependency.
You either need a strong daddy military or a strong mommy government welfare system.
Yeah. The notion that they create these systems that keep us isolated from the truth. Like you talk about how you love animals.
Yeah.
Yet then you're going to go ahead and eat a cheeseburger that came from the whitewash slaughterhouse down the street.
Yeah.
Right.
Which goes back to factory farming.
There you go. Doesn't this all just kind of tie together?
I know.
So the belief being that they have isolated ourselves from reality.
Yeah.
They shield us from it because it makes us feel more comfortable to think that way.
Right.
And as long as we feel comfortable, they can control us.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so in summary of that part, it's basically saying the people hire the politicians so the people can obtain security without managing it. Sounds pretty straightforward.
Right on.
Obtain action without thinking about it.
Yeah.
So we need to go overseas and kill some brown people.
Right.
But I don't want to do it.
No, not me personally.
No.
We're about to step in less than 24 hours into the largest day, and this might make somebody upset, but it's the truth. The Independence Day celebration, right?
Yeah.
How many flags have you seen out waving everywhere?
Yeah. And all this stuff that we like and enjoy comes at the expense of the blood of others.
Yeah.
But the thing is because the government, they kind of it's like a faux protection where they say, "Oh, we're keeping you from this, so you don't have to see this.
Freedom.
You don't have to see any of this."
Freedom isn't free, Tubbs.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose.
Yeah. It's kind of like a weird symbiotic relationship where somehow we have said that the government is okay in justifying what they do to other people as long as we stay protected.
Yeah. Right. As long as I keep my freedom safe, I don't give a shit what they're doing. They love me.
The quote-unquote nation womb.
Yes.
Yes.
Red, white, and blue, pulsating fucking tumor.
Yeah. So one of the last parts he talks about is the draft.
Oh, my God. This part, too, the draft as it moves into the enforcement of father-mother.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Right in the gonads.
Right. So this last part goes into the notions of the draft, which here in our time, we don't actually... we still have to sign up for the Selective Service Act, but we don't get drafted anymore. Right. Now, there are people in this country who believe that we should, and that we should serve...
That's what's wrong with this country. We don't have forced military service like Israel.
We should serve compulsory military contracts. It's not a contract, though, because contract infers that we agreed to it.
Right.
And then we go to that term contract again.
Social contract.
Oh, my God.
Big old dick.
So, and they build into us these notions that, you're if you don't believe in the draft and you don't believe in serving the military, then you must be unpatriotic.
Right. I want to read this full part.
Yeah.
Because the way that it's written with his note is fucking like a sledgehammer to the head.
Yeah.
The draft has military service. Few efforts of human behavior modification are more remarkable or more effective than that of the socio-military institution known as the draft. A primary purpose of a draft or other such institution is to instill by intimidation in the young males of a society the uncritical conviction that the government is omnipotent. So now, I mean, they did change it to where it's not just men, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And William Cooper's note, the truth is just the opposite, as the government exists only with the consent of the people.
Yeah.
I'm going to repeat that. The truth is just the opposite. Government is not omnipotent. As a government exists only with the consent of the people.
The consent of the people.
The most powerful word is no.
Yes.
Shut this motherfucker down. He is soon taught that a prayer is slow to reverse what a bullet can do in an instant. Thus, a man trained in a religious environment for 18 years of his life can, by this instrument of the government, be broken down, be purged of his fantasies and delusions in a matter of mere months. Once that conviction is instilled, all else becomes easy to instill. Shoo-wee, Papaw.
And the very last part is about basically the destruction of the family unit.
Yeah.
In its natural form. The form that it normally wants to take, but unfortunately has been manipulated. They talk about the fact that, first one, they talk about the father. The man of the household must be housebroken to ensure that Junior will grow up with the right social training and attitudes. So diminish the role of the father.
Yeah. Make him a beta.
Yeah. Because then there's only one alpha left in their mind.
Big Daddy Government.
The only one that will ever take care of you.
Yeah. Or know what's right.
Yeah.
I'm going to go through, I want to read all this.
Yeah, go
just
ahead.
as it's written, because I'm going to fuck it up if I just talk about it without reading it. The man of the household must be housebroken to ensure that Junior will grow up with the right social training and attitudes. The advertising media, etc., are engaged to see to it that father-to-be is a pussy whip. Is pussy whipped before or by the time he is married. He is taught that he either conforms to the social notch cut out for him, or his sex life will be hobbled, and his tender companionship will be zero. He is made to see that women demand security more than a logical, principled, and honorable behavior. By the time his son must go to war, father, with jelly for a backbone, will slam a gun into Junior's hand before father will risk the censure of his peers, or make a hypocrite of himself by crossing the investment he has in his own personal opinion or self-esteem. Junior will go to war, or father will be embarrassed. So Junior will go to war.
So basically what they're saying is that by the time this has already been implemented, if a father doesn't consent to the fact that his son's going to be sent to war, then he's been deemed unpatriotic.
Yeah. That's so fucked up. When I read that, I thought about my son being old enough to be drafted.
I don't even want to talk about it.
Ain't no fucking way.
No.
I don't give a shit.
Even
if he wants to go.
Yeah, but you're beyond some of that. You're beyond all that now. So, like, I'm the same way. I don't care what people could call me unpatriotic all day.
Yeah, eat a dick.
You think that really hurts me?
I don't give a fuck. I'm not sending my son to die for some fucking bullshit.
Some dumbass cause. If the enemy's at the gates,
yeah,
I get it.
Right.
And he wants to fight.
I'll be in front of him.
Yeah. But if it's for some stupid fucking war,
that's a fucking bullshit.
To go kill fucking brown people, or go fucking kill yellow people, or go kill white people, it don't fucking matter.
Right. It doesn't fucking matter.
No fucking way.
They don't own you.
No.
The whole idea of a draft is basically boiled down to the fact that the state knows what's best. They own you, and you are required to serve them in whatever they see fit. Fuck every bit of that.
So this next part, and this is kind of a part. I don't want to say this is 100%. I don't want to believe it, because I grew up among strong women.
Right.
The strongest human being I ever knew was a woman. And that was my grandmother. And she ruled with rational thinking.
Yeah.
She didn't rule with emotion.
But she was also one in a million, you know?
The female element of human society is ruled by emotion first and logic second.
Well, you just got to read it as it's written, because that's their idea. And if you look in society, that's how it is, by and large. Not the standard, but...
Yeah. In the battle between logic and imagination always wins. Fantasy prevails. Maternal instinct dominates so that the child comes first and the future comes second. A woman with a newborn baby is too starry-eyed to see a wealthy man's cannon fodder or a cheap source of slave labor. That almost makes me want to cry, man.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Because, like, and I get it, like, nothing should become between the love of a mother and their child.
No, but that's what they've structured.
It's probably, in my opinion, it could possibly be the most pure form of love that actually exists.
Right.
And the fact that there are evil motherfuckers out there that see them as nothing more than fucking bullet sponges.
They see that unconditional love as a means of control.
Right. Do you know how much that hurts? Like that, I don't think guys seem to understand. I'm actually feeling kind of emotional over here.
Hashtag real feels.
Because that's out of fucking control.
Right.
To exploit that kind of like that purity.
Yeah, they just see it as a thing to be A/B tested. Man,
I had to. Just rereading this. The first time I read it, it was making me sick, but this time talking about it just makes it even worse.
Right.
A woman must, however, be conditioned to accept the transition to reality when it comes, or sooner.
Mm-hmm.
So, like the notion, Junior's gone to war, and he's going to be a bullet sponge. But it's okay because that's reality. That's how it should be.
But it's not going to happen to your son. It'll be someone else's son.
It just makes, right? But that doesn't, I fight for everybody.
I mean, I'm just saying that's the idea though. The prayer. Yeah. Keep Junior safe because he's not going to be the bullet sponge, right?
Yeah. As attrition becomes more difficult to manage, the family unit must be carefully disintegrated. And state-controlled public education and state-operated childcare centers must become more common and legally enforced so as to begin the detachment of the child from the mother and father at an earlier age.
Now, this goes back to a previous episode where we talked about schooling, right?
Yeah.
And how when they first implemented federally required education, they literally had to use the National Guard to pry the children from the parents' arms because the parents at that time had not been dumbed down. They knew what it was for the state to require state education.
Yeah.
Because that was the beginning, and here we are now.
Now, this next part gets me too. Inoculation of behavioral drugs, Ritalin, for example, can speed the transition for the child to its new daddy-owned or government-owned mentality.
And that's why when these schools get these kids with any type of quote-unquote behavioral problems, i.e. lack of molding, like they don't take to the psychological break, and they're like, well, he's got ADD. We got to give him Ritalin or meth.
Yeah. So, and mind you, we're talking about this in the consent. This is a manual to somebody who's become tapped in the know, right?
Right.
I just wanted to reemphasize that.
Yeah.
I love this part because this is like a rah-rah for women.
Yeah.
I love it. It says, caution.
Yeah.
A woman's impulsive anger can override her fear. And I will agree to that 100%. An irate woman's power must never be underestimated. And her power over a pussy-whipped husband must likewise never be underestimated. It got women the vote in 1920.
Come on.
This is a manual on how to control people, just for a re-emphasis on that.
Yeah.
The next two are...
Factor 4, Junior. The emotional pressure for self-preservation during time of war and the self-serving attitude of the common herd that have an option to avoid the battlefield. If Junior can be persuaded to go, is all of the pressure finally necessary to propel Johnny off to war? Their quiet blackmailings of him are threats. No sacrifice, no friends. No glory, no girlfriends. So that is what their goal was, to program into the minds of the young.
Yeah.
If you don't sign up to go be a bullet sponge, you're not going to have any friends, Johnny.
You're not going to get laid.
You don't go over there and kill brown people, you're not going to come back and slay any of those girls, Johnny.
They play into the fears of a young man.
Mm-hmm.
Because, unfortunately, for all young men, when you're young, you're thinking about, well, really one thing.
Right. Pussy.
I mean, that's just the truth, though.
I mean, it is what it is.
And the last one is the sister. She's given all the good things of life by her father and taught to expect the same from her future husband, regardless of the price.
Right. Look for the man that'll give you whatever you want, who's pussy whipped and has a jelly for a backbone.
Yeah. And the last one is just titled Cattle.
Those who will not use their brains are no better off than those who have no brains. And so this mindless school of jellyfish, father, mother, son, and daughter, become useful beasts of burden or trainers of the same. And here we go, William Cooper himself. So now you know, this chapter could only come in the beginning. Your preconceived ideas had to be shattered in order for you to understand the rest of this book. In this chapter you can see every step that the elite have taken in their war to control this once great nation. You can see the steps that will be taken in the future. You can no longer pretend innocence. Your denial of the conspiracy will fall on deaf ears. This book is part of the education that will give Americans the weapons needed in the coming months and years of hardship as the New World Order struggles to be born. Many will argue that silent weapons for quiet wars is only a bogus conglomeration of words for which this writer has never taken any credit or responsibility. Those who do so ignore the self-evident truths contained within this document. They ignore these truths because they are an indictment of their own ignorance, which they cannot face. This document was first found in 1969. Correctly outlines events which subsequently came to pass. It cannot be ignored or dismissed. This document is genuine. Its truths cannot be negated or shrugged away. The message is this: you must accept that you have been cattle, and the ultimate consequence of being cattle, which is slavery. Or you must prepare to fight, and if necessary, die to preserve your God-given right to freedom, which he inevitably ended up dying for this freedom.
Yeah.
And so that we could all have freedom. That last sentence is the real question why people choose to ignore silent weapons for quiet wars. People are not ready to admit that they have been cattle. They are not prepared to fight, and if necessary, die for freedom. It is an indictment of the citizens of the United States of America, and that is the total confirmation of the truth of the information contained in Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. Sheesh. I
gotta tell you that parts of that just really get to me.
Little light vacation reading, huh?
Yeah, and the thing is, like, here's the thing: anybody listening out there, you are now part of that too. You've listened to this episode. If anything we said wasn't true when it came to what was in that document, then you wouldn't have to believe us. But I don't think there's a single thing there that isn't true.
No.
They've done all these things. We know we know they everything that we do, they're watching. Yeah. Every time you buy something, every time you look up something, every time you watch a YouTube video, every time you Google something, they're recording it.
Some of these things too I've kind of tested in conversation with people in preparation for this episode. People are willing to admit various parts of it. Like the social media. Yeah, we know that they're watching us for what we do on social media, but it doesn't really matter. Sure, they're selling our stuff to other companies, to know our advertising wants and habits.
Yeah.
They don't look at it on the whole, though. If you can admit to various tentacles, you have to acknowledge the fact that there's an octopus controlling it all, right?
I think the part they'd have the hardest time realizing at both sides is that they are being played on their emotions.
Just the fact that they have laid out the way that you will be as an individual, right? That they will control you from the time you're born until the time you reach childhood and then adulthood to become either a pussy-whipped man or an emotionally controlled woman to then continue the cycle. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But it's been done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say about it. So if I had a suggestion to all of you out there, get online. Is it on Amazon?
Yeah. Now, that was only a part of it, right?
Yeah, that was just the first part of the book.
Yeah. No, not this book, right? I meant like Silent Weapons.
That was an excerpt of Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars.
Yeah, so you can get the full version, either a hard copy, you can find it online, that comes free as a PDF file, which I've got downloaded. I'm slowly working through the whole thing. You can also go to YouTube. I've seen it on there where you can listen to it read for free.
Yeah.
Or you can purchase a copy. But it's definitely...
And also go online and buy a copy of Behold a Pale Horse by William Cooper.
This guy literally died for this book.
Yeah. He died to get the message out there.
He died so you could have it.
And people try to discredit him for years. And he pointed out multiple times, multiple occasions, that the people who were trying to bring him down were agents.
Yeah. He's also got all of his radio shows. Some websites have... collected all of his, because he was the preeminent podcaster of conspiracy topic. So you can find all of his episodes compiled to download to have for yourself.
Yeah.
Definitely look into him. Spend some time doing that, because
go check out Behold a Pale Horse. It's an amazing book, and I think it's probably one of the best books outlining the intentions of the deep state I can imagine.
Right.
So,
how far have you made it in here so far?
I'm in the part about FEMA.
Yeah. That's about where I am too. HR 4079.
Yeah. So, all of you out there, I hope you check it out. I hope you enjoyed the show.
Feel free to comment. I would really like, like we were talking earlier about all the added interaction we've been having with you guys. I would love to know what you think about this book.
Yeah. We'd like to thank y'all for listening.
Yeah, thank you.
We'd like to thank Ryan Sips for letting us use his music on the show.
Yes.
We'd like to thank our Patreon contributors.
We love you, for real.
Yeah.
You guys are...
Check us out on Instagram, Facebook. Check out our webpage, www.bonesandtubs.com.
Go to Patreon.
Yeah, go to Patreon.
Help us out.
Yeah.
We'll give you a shout out. We'll give you bumper stickers.
I'd love to have enough money to put an AC unit in our studio so I don't have to do it in my dining room again.
Right. I just put social pressure on our t-shirt maker that it's time for him to get on that ball.
Yeah.
Over there at Infidel Custom on Facebook, he makes quality products. We just have to hold him down and beat his legs.
See, we gotta employ the tactics of the foreman of a Vietnamese sweatshop.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. I wouldn't do that to anybody because that's fucked.
We're against forced labor, but I will shame you.
Yeah.
But you make amazing products. We just need more of them.
We need more of them. We need
to give them out to the people.
I've been wearing my t-shirt like crazy.
I have too. I was going to wear it today, but I can't find it.
Use my koozie all on my vacation.
Oh, yeah.
My dad, I gave him one, and he broke it in real good.
That's good. I hope he uses it every time he hits those.
The libations of Milwaukee's Best Ice that have filled that koozie are out of control.
Yes.
We'd like to thank you all for listening. We hope you enjoyed the episode, even though it was kind of not the most positive one.
No, but I definitely felt powerful about it.
It did. And like I said, I try not to get emotional on the show.
Yeah.
But that last part kind of got me.
I was holding his hand. He made it through.
Yeah. But yeah, we'd like to thank you all for listening. We hope you tune in next time, and we hope you have a good week.
We love you.
We really do.
Yeah. Imagine the word of God without religious groupies. Imagine a savior born in a Mexican hoopty. Persecuted single mother in a modern manger. You crucify him again like a fucking stranger. Tears of the anger worth more than diamonds or rubies. Imagine being locked up since juvie. Imagine changing your life and still going out like Tukey. Imagine niggas talking shit when they never knew me. Imagine a movie that depicted the pain in your life, like them kids in Afghanistan chasing a kite. For most of the world, that's what it's like. Imagine if the woman you're supposed to love for the rest of your life is set to marry someone else at the end of the night. They say you fight the greatest jihad in your heart and your mind, and fight the hardest when you start from behind. So I dream the impossible all the time. Fuck a Masonic design, America's future is mine. Repeat that to yourself, cause if culture's a crime, them numbers tatted on your arm aren't too far behind. They can only conquer you after they murder your mind. So rise up, motherfucker, like the sign of the times. I feel my body weakening, but my spirit is fine. Ready to go to war with devils at the drop of a dime, and fight with my rebel army until the stars are aligned. Nostradamus was a white man's prophet who predicated European supremacist logic, because the pilgrims and the conquistador columns killed more innocent people than Hitler and Stalin. Yes, I guess the fortune teller skipped an anti-Christ or two. Brother, give this to the OGs doing life with you, and pray for the problems with the Pope psychology, so the Vatican will offer an apology. For what? For destroying the people's liberation theology, snatching the spirit of Jesus from people in poverty. Business decisions like keeping people in prison, but it had the opposite effect, incarcerating religion. That type of crooked politics imposed on the populace is obvious if you read the Northwood documents. Forget the compliments for what I recorded, and live for revolution instead of always dying for it. Remember, a bullet could never stop me. My legions are led by the spirit of Haile Selassie. Watch me, even if I'm shot in the chakra, I will prosper. Doppler effect, bumping music out a helicopter, telling the Persians dick up Zoroaster, and tell them I came back as the son of Ahura Mazda. Fish out the Philistine, Dagon, Lebanon, from the shores of Gaza and Quetzalcoatl, flying over La Raza. This is my message to the older gods. I'll sacrifice you all to the revolution like the Romanovs, lost in the desert like the Hebrews of Israel. The blood clot system tried to kill me like sickle cell, but I survived and I'm alive to fight another day. Cocooned in a coma, I can still hear my mother pray. Sister crying out to God, please let my brother stay. Walking towards the light, but something's pulling me the other way.
Immortal technique. Rise up, young brother. This is not your time.